In this video, I'm going to show you how the path to happiness is filled with sorrow unless you do this. These couple of things that I'm going to show you how to do, and I guarantee by the end of this video, I'll tell you what you need to do in order to not have your path to happiness filled with sorrow, but actually filled with happiness. Also, if you're paying attention, there'll be a couple of other things that you may cue in on that will let you know if you add these things to it, if you follow this process, that your path to happiness is already present, and that your path to happiness is not filled with sorrow, but filled with joy and elation. So what's up, everybody? How you doing? This is your Coach Renz. First, I want to introduce myself. I'm also the owner of Uncle Renz Popcorn. As Coach Renz, I help people to develop their business as well as help people develop themselves personally, develop leaderships within their companies. I also help people to get past whatever issues they may have from their past and their current, so that they can then have a bright future and have a glorious present. As Uncle Renz Popcorn, we sell 25 different flavors of gourmet popcorn as well as other treats. All these things help facilitate this channel, and I greatly appreciate everyone who orders from Uncle Renz Popcorn. You can order today. I greatly appreciate it. And use the code September deal. You got to use it before the end of the month, and you'll get $3 off. I also like to give gratitude to everyone who supports the channel through Patreon. I really greatly appreciate you guys, because you're not asking for anything other than these videos, and I'm more than willing to do that. And hey, for all my patrons, please leave me a message on Patreon as to what videos you would like to see, because you guys get that benefit. You guys get the benefit of saying what you want to see, what videos you want to hear, and I will definitely do those, because I appreciate you guys so much. And for everyone else who comments in the videos, everyone who subscribes to the channel, supports the channel, I greatly appreciate you guys. And when I do a live, those who donate, I'm like ecstatic about that, because it's an amazing thing to me. So thank you very much. So on to the video. And even though I've already actually said what the result is, we're going to make our way through and get there. You see, a lot of people, they want to have happiness in their life. I would say that the majority of people truly want to be happy in their life. And the reason why I say the majority, because there are some people out there where they are not happy unless there is conflict and issues and arguing and fight and something negative going on in their life. They can't have any peace without that going on. But even in that, they find a little bit of peace, but they have to have the trauma going on in their life in order for them to be in a position where they feel like they have some control over what's going on, that they're protected from what's going on. But for the majority of people, we want to be happy. We live our lives. We go about our lives. We have people coming in and out of our lives. We have situations that happen, situations that come and go. But for the most part, we're all on a journey looking for the destination of happiness. Of happiness. We try to find it in religion. We try to find it in family. We try to find it in relationship. We try to find it in our health. We try to find it in our finances. We try to find it in all these different things, not realizing that all of it is the perspective that you have on any individual aspect of any of the categories that I just named. But the true happiness is found in all categories, and we can find it very easily. All you have to do is be willing and have an open mind. So I'm asking you right now to have an open mind in order for you to be able to find happiness without going through all the sorrow, so that you can have happiness and be in joy and elation the whole time. Now, many times you've heard of the journey versus the destination. And too often, we think that the only time we can be happy is when we reach a certain destination, when life looks a certain way, when our culture has said that this is what happiness looks like for this subject on this level. This is what happiness looks like when you're healthy. This is what happiness looks like when you have a certain amount of wealth. This is what happiness looks like when you have a certain relationship status. This is what happiness looks like when you have a certain spiritual status. Once you have these certain statuses, then you're happy. Happiness comes. That's the destination. And if you can get to that destination, if you can survive through all the misery and the sorrow to get to that destination, then one day you'll be happy. That's what we're taught. That's what we believe. That's what our cultures have led us to understand. Not realizing that happiness is all around you. That you don't have to go a certain destination to find happiness. You don't have to come to a certain point that is acceptable to the standard of society in order for you to have happiness. That when you get into a knowledge of self and flow, you can find happiness. But in order to do that, we cannot separate the destination from the journey. The destination and the journey must all be one. We will actually find that you will get to your destination a lot faster when you enjoy the journey. And it's all about being present in the journey. Now that's already the answer. Being present in the journey and loving the journey is the secret to having happiness, for the path of happiness to not be filled with sorrow. That when you find joy in the journey, then you will find happiness in the now. But how do we get there? That's the question. That's the issue. That's the big question. Now, one of the problems I have with many of the motivational speakers and inspirational speakers and all the people with their training programs of this and that and the third is that they love to tell you what the end result is. They love to give you a smidgen of what you need to focus on, but they never really give you the full know-how. And I understand this is their business. So they need to create an ascension program so that they can make money and get paid. I get it. I will eventually do something similar, but not to that same degree. I want you to know now what you can do to change your life right now, not later, not after you came to this seminar or that seminar. Let's talk about it right now. I want you to be pre-prepared when we get to that stage. So the first thing that they all tell you, and I'm going to tell you the same, is that you have to have a destination. You cannot have a journey worth traveling without a destination, without a goal. Many of you have goals. Many of you you write your goals down. You have vision boards up. I have goals for Uncle Ren's Popcorn. I have goals for Coach Ren's. I have goals for my financial life. I have goals for my health life. I have goals for my relationship life. I have goals for my spiritual life. So we all should have goals. And in that goal, it has to be more than just something that society has taught you is the right thing to say. Oh, I want to have a house. I want to have a great career. I want to have a loving marriage with a God-fearing man or financially astute man. Or I want to have a relationship with a beautiful, sexy woman who knows how to be a freak in the sheets and a lady on the streets. I want to have, the Adonis body, this built, chiseled body. It's one thing to have goals that are generic, that pretty much everybody has, that you've been taught by society as to what you should have. It's a totally different subject when your goal becomes a definiteness of purpose. A definiteness of purpose is something that you have made so important in your life that it gives you drive. It gives you passion. It gives you will to stick through it when things don't seem to go the way you want them to go. It gives you that thing that says that when things are looking at their lowest, I'm not giving up. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to continue to strive. It's that thing that when you say that this is the man or woman that I want to spend the rest of my life with, and things have not been good for a minute, that you say it doesn't matter. We are going to work this thing out. That this is not a point of deal breaking. This is a point of growth, opportunity for us. It's that thing that says that when your finances aren't the way you want them to be, and you say that, well, I know how to get into Uncle Ren or Coach Ren's 70-10-10-10 plan, but I don't necessarily have the funds or the budget to do it right now, is to say that, well, I'm going to take what I do have and I'm going to make it function in the format that it should be in, and whatever areas I need to scale back on or change or whatever life adjustments I need to make, I'm going to make those adjustments in order to move my life in that direction because I have a definiteness of purpose. There is a purpose to what I'm doing, and I am definite about it. And why? Because it's backed by three things. is backed by three things. And we're really only gonna talk about one to a certain extent, but it's backed by emotion. Anytime you have a definiteness of purpose that's backed by an emotional push, that you put your heart into it, your emotion, your feelings, your heart mind, is connected to it. You know, the neural pathways we have in our brain, we also have in our heart and we have in our stomach. But if your heart is emotionally connected to it, now there's a danger to this. There's a danger. Because if our emotions are attached to it, as much as we emotionalize ourselves in it, we can emotionalize ourselves out. The way the law of polarity and the law of rhythm works is that as far as you can swing to the right is as far as you can swing to the left of the same pole. As much as I can be driven by my emotions, that this is my purpose in life, is as much as I can say that it is not the will of the Creator, the will of the universe, my will, it is not for me. And so you swing back to the left because things have gotten so out of pocket that your emotions have went from the elation, the drive to do it, to the pessimistic mindset of this is just not for me, and I thought that it was right for me. But because it doesn't look the way I imagined it in my definiteness of purpose, my goals, then it must not have been the right path for me. No, it can still be the right path. You just allowed your emotions to swing to the left, simply because things haven't worked out as well. We're going to talk about why things don't work out as well. And the same thing, the other thing is that your logic. The other thing that drives your definiteness of purpose is your logic and your thinking. Now, you guys have all heard, whatever you think about constantly is what you will become. Whatever you think about constantly is what will be in your life. You may think it's serendipity, but the actual story of serendipity is three princes going around looking for people who were prepared for success. People who had not had the money to be able to move themselves in the direction that they wanted to move into, but is actually, and they came in and provided that, and the people thought this is serendipitous that these people came, and serendipity is from the land of Serendip in Sri Lanka, currently known as Sri Lanka, but that they were prepared for the opportunity. So logically, whatever we think about, whatever we focus on is what we generally would get in life, because our actions follow what we usually think about and what we're focused on. But in the same way as your heart, emotions allow you to swing from the right to the left, your mind will allow you to swing from the right to the left. Based on your culture, based on your spirituality, based on your family, based on your traditions, based on your current environment, based on your past, your brain will take all those things and find either a reason to flow towards your definiteness of purpose or flow away from it. One or the other. And it can swing. On Monday, you're into the focus, into the flow, and on Tuesday, you're out of the flow. But it can go either way, because you can rationalize your way into something, or you can rationalize yourself out of something. You can have that goal up on your wall, that picture of that house, that picture of that vacation, that picture of that car. You can have it on your wall constantly. That number that you wrote, that check out to yourself that you're going to cash with that date. You can have that up on your wall all year. But as you get closer to the year ending, as you get closer to the time running out, and you start thinking, I don't have enough time to accomplish that. That must not be the will of God, the will of the universe for me to have that. Not just yet. It's not in season yet. And we'll talk about seasons, but it's not in season yet. So I must have been ahead of myself. I must have been ahead of the universe. I must not have put enough faith behind it. I didn't put enough energy behind it. And so you start taking that off and putting it on to the next year's. And then you take that off and put it on to the next year. Then you take that off and put it on to the next year. All the while, it could have happened in that year, but you were missing some key components. And we're going to talk about that. The other one is your gut. Your gut. Your definiteness of purpose is backed by your gut. Here's the thing about gut. Many people ask sometimes, how do I know what is for me and what is not for me? Like I said, your heart Your heart mind can emotionalize yourself into something or out of something, whether it's for you or not. If something could clearly be not for you, but your heart can emotionalize yourself into it. That man, that woman is clearly not for you. And I've done it myself. But you allow your heart to emotionalize yourself into it. Your mind will reason yourself in or out of something. That financial situation is not for you. It's not a direction you should go. But you will rationalize it. You will say that I can make it up on the back end. I can rob Peter to pay Paul, and then I can do whatever. I see other people having new cars. I want a new car. I see other people having a new house. I want a new house. One of the reasons why we had the housing market crash is because people logically knew they couldn't afford those houses. They couldn't afford those loans. They knew that when the LIBOR changed that they weren't going to be able to afford the house, but they did it anyway because they rationalized it by saying that this is what I can get now. I can get this $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 house interest-only loan. Look at the payment. But they knew that in 3, 4, 5 years, when that loan converted over to a conventional loan, that they were going to lose that house. They didn't make the money to do so. They knew they weren't going to change their finances to be able to make that payment in that 5-year period. They had a plan. They said that they would. They said they would change their budget, that they have this car paid off, that car paid off. That will afford them the ability to be able to pay the new mortgage when the interest only converted to a conventional. They said it, but they weren't able to do it. Why? Because it wasn't backed by definiteness of purpose. They rationalized their way into it. Your gut mind. Those synapses run in your stomach the same way. And in your gut mind, this is where you connect to universal source, to source energy. This is where the connection is, right there, right in your gut. This is why some of the most successful people in the world, they say that, well, I looked at all the parameters to whether or not I should make this decision, all the stats, all the information to whether or not this is the best decision or that's the best decision. But at the end, I went with my gut, and it turned out to be a great thing. Their gut backed their definiteness of purpose. Their gut is their connection to just eternal energy, infinite intelligence. That gut instinct is the thing that men, us as humans, has taken the rational brain and the emotional brain and overwhelmed the gut brain. Other animals recognize when the weather is changing, when the wind changes, when the temperature has changed and it's time to fly south, when the herd has moved along, when the water is drying up, it's time to move along. Other animals recognize their instincts to move and stay in flow of the universe. Whereas we as humans, we ignore that part. But it is the part that we should be accountable to for the most. It is the part we should put ahead of our heart and our mind. That gut puts us in universal flow. How many times you have said to yourself, I knew I should have turned right when you turn left. I knew I shouldn't have married that man, married that woman. I knew I shouldn't have moved into this house. Matter of fact, I was offered one of those interest-only loans back in the early 2000s. And the builder was somebody who I knew the builder. And he told me, I'll give you this. And since you're a family friend, I was a family friend. I'll give you this house. We normally sell it for $700,000. But I'll give it to you at cost. He's going to sell me the house for $490,000. It's a 3-story house, full finished basement. It's about 6,000 square feet. My gut said the electric bill on this house is going to be crazy. My gut said that with the homeowners association and with the fact that it was an interest-only loan, and when it converted over, and that I had 3 small children and a senior citizen living in my house, that this was not the most advantageous situation for me. My gut said no before my mind even thought about all those things. Before I thought, those rational thinking things were the rationale that I gave the builder, was the rationale that I gave my family as to why I wasn't buying that house. My gut said no, so as immediately when he was offered, I said no. I followed my gut. And a few years later, 8 years later, right when it would have been converted over into a conventional, the bubble burst. Many of my personal training clients weren't doing personal training anymore because they were losing income. So things changed. I wouldn't have been able to afford it. I would either have to quickly sell the house or get it foreclosed on. I followed my gut. There are other times in my life I wish I had followed my gut. I wish I had followed my gut. But because I didn't, you have to deal with the consequences. So learn how to follow your gut. If your gut is telling you that what you're doing is the right thing for you to do, stay there. Do that. If your gut is telling you that making this right turn is what you should do, make the right turn. If your gut's telling you to make the left turn, make the left turn. But follow your gut. 9 times out of 10, it will lead you down the right path. Because when you follow your gut, you are in flow with what abundance has for you. And you should follow that, regardless of what others may think or say. Now, another thing that we need to consider is that many people are stuck in this misteaching. We oftentimes talk about our past, our present, our future. The thing about our past, present, and future is that in our world today, we're taught to learn from our past, but we're taught that our present actions should be geared towards that future definiteness of purpose, that future goal, that we should be focused on that future. But here's the thing. We know that the past is solid. It is what it is. What happened in your life happened in your life. Your perspective may be different from someone else's, but it is what it is. That's your past. Your present day, you can look around. You see your present day. It's pretty solid. You know what your present day is. And because of your past, that your past is what created your present day. The future is uncontrollable. The future is unpredictable. The future is filled with just possibilities. We are not sure what is going to happen in the next 10 years. We can take our best guess. And in order to do that, we have to study our past. I just mentioned the housing market. Bubble burst in 2008, 9, 10. Everything was going crazy. The economy rebounded. But in these last few years, those same no interest loans, they're giving them out again. They're called something different right now. It doesn't flow in my brain, but it's called something different now. But those same loans are being given out again. The mortgage industry may not crash as hard as it did before, but you're going to see the housing market take that dip again. And it'll revert. Right now it's a buyer's market. As some of you know, I'm studying for a real estate exam. Right now it's a buyer's market. It may become a seller's market. Or no, actually when the bubble bursts, it'll still be a buyer's market. It'll still be a buyer's market. Right? At least here in Atlanta it's a buyer's market right now. I can't say for other areas. But it'll flow. It'll have its ups and downs. What the past does is gives us indicators of what's coming. Because we've seen the past happen over and over again. We've seen the same cycles happen over and over again. You know the type of relationships you've been in the past. And if you are in that same relationship now, that same type of relationship now, you know where it's leading, what's going to happen. You have a pretty good idea. And that's the benefit of the past. The past is for you to study it and then act upon it. You know, we always like to say, when you know better, you do better. To say that is to say that you studied the past, you learn from the past, so in the present, you do better, so that you can have a different future than your past. That is the only way, is to take the lessons from the past and make them applicable to today. Make them applicable to today, how you function today. I can tell you that I sacrifice my benefit for the benefit of others so many times over and over again, but it seemed that I wasn't learning. Because every time I sacrificed myself for them, and I ended up in a much worse situation. If I don't learn from that past, I will continue on that same journey, having the same present, having the same future. Every time my money is up and I sacrifice, and my money goes down. And it just happens over and over again until I realize can't do that anymore. In my present, I can't allow myself to move in those directions. You have to learn that. You have to learn from your past so that you can make the right decisions in your present. So that when your gut says, don't spend the money on this, don't spend your money on that, don't spend your time doing this, don't spend your time doing that, that then your brain, your logical brain says, remember in the past, when you spent your money on this, you got that result. When you spent your time on this, you got that result. And then now your mind and your gut are in sync with one another. And when your mind and your gut gets in sync with one another, you can then have a better control over getting your emotions in sync with that. You see, many of you are thinking how they have taught you, that you focus on the future. Pray as if it is now. Meditate as if it is now. Focus on the future being now. You're doing that from a mindset. You try to put emotions to it to do it from an emotional set, but you're not doing it from the gut point. From the gut point. And from the gut point is where it matters. It's when you say, what is my gut telling me? I put up this house, but is my gut telling me that that's the house? Is my gut telling me is that the kind of relationship? Is my gut telling me is that the framework of body? Is my gut telling me that's the method of my finances? Is my gut telling me to go into this industry or that industry? Is my gut telling me to build this business? What is your gut telling you? And if your gut is telling you no, then you can't go with what your mind says. You can't go with what your heart says. You have to go with your gut says. And then look at your past and your present so that you can get your mind and your heart in line with your gut. When you do that, you will be on a journey of happiness. You will be happy through the journey, through the process, because you will find happiness in the present, and that's when the present becomes a gift, because it's something that you get to enjoy right now, something that's prosperous for you right now. So don't get misled by that. You gotta make your mind, your heart, your future match your flow of being in flow with the universe through your gut. And I'm going to give you 2 quick things in order for you to be able to do that. In order for you to connect more with your gut. In order for you to focus more on that throughout the day. Number 1 is meditation. I said this over and over again. Now, for some of you, it might be prayer. And that's fine. I don't mind you praying. But, and I do mean but, not to eliminate everything I just said, but meditation is different. When you pray, you're praying and asking a source outside yourself to manifest things for you. You're asking a source outside yourself to do things and bring things into your life that can make everything work for you. I'm not saying you shouldn't pray, but before you pray, meditate. When you meditate, you're talking to your gut. You're focusing in on your gut. You're focusing in on your connection with universal intelligence through you. Remember, your crown chakra is blocked by your attachment to earthly things. When you release those attachments and you can allow yourself to be connected to source energy, allow yourself to be connected to the creator, allow yourself to be connected to the universe, and you say to the universe, as above, so below, my gut is speaking to you, and I need you to speak back to my gut. I know what my instincts are saying about my current life and situation. Let me focus on that so I can get clarity. And when you get that clarity, the next thing you do is give gratitude. But before I say that, let me get back to the clarity. When you get that clarity, then You tell your mind to get in sync with your gut, with that clarity. You tell your heart to get in sync with that clarity. That clarity tells you how you should live your life. That clarity demonstrates to you how you should live your life, how you should be. Now you need your mind to go back through your history and say that what in my past connects with this clarity? What in my past disconnects with this clarity? When we say we do better because we know better, it is not about the lessons positive that you've learned from people, but it is also about the lessons of pain that you experience and say, I'm going to be opposite of that pain. I'm going to be opposite of that lesson. I do better because I'm not doing the same thing that I know created this situation. As some of you know, I love my father, but my father did not live in the same area that I lived in. I lived in Marietta, Georgia. My father lived in Tampa, Florida. As a child, I experienced the distance and the pain of not having him close. We talked, but it was different. So when me and my kid's mother got divorced, I refused to live outside of the same city as my children. I had to be within 45 minutes of my children. I was not going to give them the same pain that I experienced. I didn't have to see somebody doing it well for me to do something different. I did it because I know the pain it caused and I'm not causing the same pain. The same thing in relationship. You know the pain you caused in this relationship or the pain someone caused you in this relationship, so you don't create the same pain for the next person. When you know better, you do better. So you get your mind in sync with your gut by going through your history and saying, what gets me in sync with my gut? Because my gut is now in sync with the universe, in sync with God, in sync with the Creator, in sync with source energy. So now my gut is in sync. Let me get now my heart in sync. What emotions am I putting out or contemplating or I am in reference of to this situation that is taking me out of sync, that's swinging me to the left of the pole? Let me get my heart in sync with my gut so that I am in flow with the universe. And the last thing, gratitude. I alluded to it briefly. But after you get your mind, your heart in sync with your gut, which is in sync with universe, give gratitude. Be thankful for the connection. And after you're thankful for the connection, be thankful for the present, for everything that is in your life that is good. Do not start giving gratitude for things that are not present in your life yet. Give gratitude to them when they come in your life. Because if you're always giving gratitude to things that are not in your life yet that you desire to have in your life, then you are not grateful for what you currently have in life. And the universe says, no, fool. Be grateful for what you have first. And then I can give you this. It is the same lesson that many have received, that you receive when you read the Hebraic Bible, where it said, and the Christian Bible as well, where it teaches that if you a man who has shown responsibility for a little will be given a lot. I think that's the story of the talents. That if you're good and responsible for a little bit, you will then gain a lot. Because if you show gratitude for the little bit that you have, then the universe says, I know you can handle a lot. And I've already pointed your gut in that direction. Because you're meditating on that and you're focused on that movement, and in the now you're doing actions that will bring that into your life, I know that you're responsible enough to handle it. So the abundance can come your way. This is also not just universe. This is also other people. You see, some of the things that you want to have in your life will come from other people. They may be moved by universe. They may be moved by their own selfish desires. They may be moved by their own gut instincts for their destination. They may be moved by a myriad of things. But what matters is that when they see you and they say, you know what? You've been responsible in your conduct of Uncle Ren's Popcorn. I can give you the business of facilitating popcorn for the Fox Theater. You've been good at facilitating the care of children. So I can give you the investment of expanding your child care. I can see that you've been responsible for the 10 people team that you're on as a project manager. But now I can see that I can give you the responsibility of being a senior project manager, which now gives you a $10,000-$20,000 pay raise. So it can come from others who see you being responsible and having gratitude for what you have. If you're managing a team of 10 but you're ungrateful and always complaining and don't have anything good to say, then, and your attitude is demonstrating it, then they won't look upon you and they will feel the negative energy. They will see the negative light and they say, you're good in the space that you are, but you're not ready yet. You're not ready yet for bigger responsibilities. So the wisdom is good. The wisdom is good. And so show gratitude for where you are currently. And if you show gratitude for where you are currently, your gut will continue to give you that clarity. The more you meditate on it, the more you're going to see it in your life. And then you'll start moving towards your definiteness of purpose faster than you ever have before. You won't have to force anything. Things will be in a natural flow of the universe. And as you continue to flow, that greatness that comes out of you will attract so many people and so many circumstances and so many situations. You'll give more praise and grace, and you'll have so much grace going on in your life. And you'll be given so much gratitude for everything that comes, that even more, you will then experience what you've been taught over and over again about getting overflow. But it'll be real. It'll be constant. And it'll be something that you don't go from the highest extreme to the lowest extreme. You'll polarize yourself to one side when you stay in constant flow through your gut, constant connection through your mind and your heart. You focus on it through your meditation, and you give gratitude consistently. Do these things, and your path to happiness will not be filled with sorrow. It will be filled with elation, filled with joy, filled with happiness, filled with the divine self as well as the divine universe. So remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Please continue to support this channel. I greatly appreciate it. Purchase from Uncle Ren's Popcorn. Sign up for any of my coaching programs on CoachRenz.com. Become a patron. Suggest videos and you will see them get done. Thank you very much, and y'all have a great day.